development session with myself, Eyram Tawia. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Leti Arts, which is one of the very first video game development studios in the sub-region. So today's workshop is tagged "A Decade of Games in Africa, Making Impact One Game at a Time." So I know we all have heard about video games, or we all play video games a lot on our phones. But these games are mostly made by foreign companies. Yes, before. But 10 years ago, we were brave enough to dive into the space to start creating African stories in these exciting formats. So today is an account of that whole decade of what has transpired in the industry, and also expose you to the processes of, or the process of making video games and digital comics. It's an exciting arena, so I hope you enjoy the session. And because we have a long day, 3 solid hours to start. Okay, so let me just begin with a short trailer about Leti Arts and what we do. That's something short about Leti Arts and what we intend to do and achieve. Welcome. I think you can all hear some brilliant science and national science and maths quiz theme in the background. So I want to quickly start with a simple trivia, since we are in the heat moment of science and maths. We are going to use one of our products to answer just some simple trivia on science. So this is a product that we've developed. It's actually being run on MTN's network called the MTN Hot Seat. And we have several quizzes there: Bible quiz, Islamic quiz, science quiz. So let's try this. Who will be brave enough to sit on the hot seat and actually experience it? Who is brave enough to sit on the hot seat? Okay, all right. We have our champion here. Let's see how well he does. So do you want to go with the computer? Okay, science to start with. Do you know the rules? You can operate it yourself. It's unfortunately, you have to be looking at the screen there. Yep, that was great. 100 points. It's yours. Let's go next. The mosquito and the housefly are harmful in that they Are you sure? Okay. Ooh, isn't that easy? Well, it, it's dollars actually, or better, more euros. A fuse is used in an electrical circuit to wow, you must be a genius. $300 for you. Now let's try for $500. The process by which living things increase in number is referred to as final answer. Yeah. Okay. Let's try. Please be it. Ah, the guy won. Okay, let's get to the last 1,000 points and continue. This is a tricky one. But you can use your lifelines. We have 50-50, call a friend, and using the audience. So you can decide. It's your choice. You can use 50-50. Okay. Good. Okay. Oops. It's almost time. Good. Okay, let's see. Oh, you made it. So now you have $1,000 to you. Okay. So that will be paid to you. Anyway, so that's just it. It's a really fun game. It's a really, really fun game, and you can definitely try it on your phone by just going to MTN Hot Seat. You win data, airtime, money, phones. Like, it's an amazing platform. So you can try it. Okay, so that's it. Let's continue with our presentation. So intermittently, we will be switching through the hot seat to see if we can make more money. So, Leti Arts has been a strategic partner of leading companies over the decades. We started 2009, so we've actually made games or comics for brands like these, and growing. Our portfolio is really growing. We started 2009 in Ghana and Kenya. My co-founder is Kenyan, so we have an office in Kenya. What we are mainly known for is Africa's legends. The goal was to actually produce African superheroes and preserve them through video games and digital comics. And we have over 80,000 downloads of our product. That's my beautiful face and my co-founder. And together we have over 25 years of experience in this industry. Wow. We are really growing. And when you Google gaming in Africa, you would see us almost everywhere. Yes, we are that prominent in our industry. So Ghanaians might not have known much about us or Africans, but as the industry grows, we are getting known more and more and more. And I'm not alone. I'm operating with really young, vibrant, energetic guys who are all passionate to see gaming become a huge industry on this continent. So you can see them, Shan, Kojo, Robertson, all over the world. And it's been an amazing journey so far. But I'll continue with just a little background. I'm actually a father, husband. I have actually 4 kids now. I'm a game enthusiast, a geek. I attended KNUST. I read computer science. I'm a chorister. I love to sing, right? And then I also love good food. So this body Yes, it's been run by really good food. And some of my anchors over the years. We won the Vodafone App Star back in 2015 in India, and that was a global prize. Then we also, in 2013, Google and the Innovation Ghana initiative awarded us one of the best companies in Ghana making use of the internet. So these are really strong anchors that we've chalked over the years. Then this is, I think, my greatest achievement. Every gamer knows what GDC is. So GDC is the Game Developers Conference, biggest in the whole world. And in 2013, myself and my co-founder were the first sub-Saharan African company to mount this stage in San Francisco to talk about the emerging landscape of African video game development. So I'm actually running this clinic to make you know that, yes, Africa is going global. The gaming industry is actually growing, and you should take advantage of it. And I hope to expose you to interesting dimensions in this industry. Now, you would ask yourself, who is this guy standing here talking about games? How did it start for me? How did it start for me? Back in 1997, I was in JSS 2 then, I think. I'm not going to talk much about my background, but this is a letter that my late dad, I think about 5 years ago, pulled out from his stuff. And he said, I wrote to him. My dad was in Kenya for 5 years. He was a visiting professor in Kenya for 5 years. And this was a letter I wrote to him, I think 3 years into his years abroad. And this is from a child who has not seen his dad for 3 years. And look at what I wrote to him as a letter. So the letter started, follow instructions, things to do and buy, computer, CD-ROM, agent, diskettes, games, FIFA 96, Indiana Jones, Wetlands, and look, all these games. Then I said, buy as many as you can buy. Hard disk, from 500 megabytes to 1.2 gigabytes. Those were the highest then, right? Now we even have terabytes on pen drives. Then I went there on joystick, optional. Try as much as possible to buy these things. Then I went on, let Auntie Amavi help you. I had an auntie in Kenya, so I'm like, hey, I know my dad. If you don't push him, he will not buy it. So I'm like, let Auntie Amavi help you. Then I gave him instructions. A, go to the store. B, give this paper to the person there. C, tell him what you are looking for. D, bargain and buy. Then I went on, my TV game. Buy as many cartridges as possible. Then video cassettes, Liar Liar, Men in Black, George of the Jungle. Ask for Nintendo 64 or PlayStation. If the price is low, buy it. Then try as much as possible to buy these things. Follow instructions. That was the letter I sent to my dad after not seeing him for 3 years. So it can tell you the sort of child or kid I was growing up, right? That was all I thought of. And this is a Ghanaian child. And there are a lot of us in that bubble now, and I'm looking for them. Everyone in that bubble thinking differently. I have one here who is interning. His dad just brought him to me. He's called Kofi Annan Epresekan. Presek is definitely winning. Oh, no. Keta will beat you guys. Anyway, so please, this is who I was growing up, and I'll use that to sum up my background. So just know the one standing here. But in reading that letter, I saw these anchors, CD-ROM. Now, my Mac doesn't even have a CD-ROM. It's facing out. Diskettes. FIFA used to be on diskettes. Now, FIFA is over 500 gig, FIFA 21. And this is still made by EA Sports. So you should realize how, since EA Sports began, it began in 1992 or 91. And now see how much it's commanded. Hard disk, 500 megabytes, 1.2. My machine then was only, I think, 20 megabytes. It was a 486SX. And I was yearning for 500 megabytes. And then this had just come. Like, 1.2 gigabyte wasn't common. So I'm like, okay, push to see if you can get 1.2. Then joystick, and then Nintendo 64 and PlayStation. These guys are still surviving. Not the actual brands, but PlayStation is now PlayStation 5. At this time, it was PlayStation 1. Yes, yeah, just PlayStation, you know. And then Nintendo 64. That was a revolutionary console with the 4 controllers. Yeah, so I think, I believe that technology has advanced so much, and gaming, which is my field, is ready to spring up. And that is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I decided to create the change you want to see. I decided to challenge myself into this industry, and my philosophy has always been working in cooperation and not in competition. So I cooperate a lot, and yes, I share out there. So I would like to cooperate with everyone sitting in this room. Whether you are a cameraman, I need you to make reviews on our games and blogs. A journalist, become a game journalist, right? When you go to San Francisco, there are journalists for even game characters or special things, right? And these are all opportunities that we can take advantage of. I think we heard recently that start your own business. Starting a business is just focusing on one thing and trying to make something out of it. And it can clearly be a side gig that can become something that you can depend on. So, back to Leti Arts. Our roots as a company, we've been vocal for local, right? I think I should be a poet. Vocal for local, right? And we really want to preserve local content. And we are also focused on industry growth, and everything that we do, we want to raise awareness. So at this fair, you can check out our booth. The guys are there showing stuff, and that is mostly our focus. Now, the cultural problem. Games. People are wondering, how are you able to even survive on games or even break through the industry? It's a fundamental problem across Africa. Education and games are 2 walled gardens. If I pick a book now and I'm studying, my parents will be clapping for me. But if I pick a game, hey, Kofi, there be games. I have a parent in Ewe like that. Oh, Odia Grododo, always playing. But actually, the 2 go hand in hand. So we decided to make games relevant by combining education and games. And we started by actually diving into the rich stories of Africa. I think you all know these characters. Do you know Anansi, Kweku Anansi? I think we all know Kweku Anansi. And Shaka Zulu and Pharaoh. I think for Egyptian mythology, we've seen it in feature films over and over. Shaka, yes. But are you okay with this branding? These brandings are so boring that they are not well represented. So what we observed is that we all know these characters, right? Just these characters together have brought in over $2 billion. Just these characters. Over $2 billion. Consuming Western content. We all know Superman. We all consume Western content. I'm a product of a brainwashed child from childhood, right? So the question has always been, can we actually create African superheroes to have the same global impact like these characters? And yes, they dived in I think we all know Wakanda. When Black Panther was well produced, we saw that in 1 month, it made $1.2 billion. That is how much African content is being craved for. You understand? So it means definitely that we will be successful. That is why we are on this path. Now, look at the potential in Africa. If you tell me to give you statistics of gaming and all that, Africa is operating in a blank canvas, right? I think over the decade, we have some data. I can give you some stats now, but we are still in the mindset that we are working with an untapped potential market. 55 countries, 3,000 plus cultures, over 1 billion people. How can't we use, or why can't we use video games to make money? We've seen that these things are raking billions of dollars in the West. In the West, the gaming industry is bigger than the music and the movie industry combined. You can Google that, you'll see. So a musician now, if you add games to your music, you are going to triple your revenues. Especially that Zuckerberg just announced the metaverse. The metaverse is going to create trillionaires, not billionaires. And that is where this technology is going to take us. So if you are here, and I know there is someone here who is looking at $1 trillion, he's sitting in this crowd here, $1 trillion, look at you. And definitely, gaming is going to make that happen for Africa. And I'm vocal about it, and I stand here in front of you to tell you that, yes, gaming will be that big. So we created Africa's Legends. Africa's Legends are Africa's superheroes, like the Black Panther Avengers and all that. So we took cultures from different parts of Africa, and we identified superheroes or legends. Like Ghana, we have folklore, Anansi, we have Kwame Nkrumah, Rawlings. All these legends can be made into formats, attractive forms like this to be genuinely exciting to the child of today. And through that, we use our process. And look, these artworks are produced by Ghanaians and Africans. These cool artworks are made by Ghanaians, correct illustrators who have actually just attended KNUST, right? Some are self-taught. So please don't undermine the skill set of the Ghanaian. It's an amazing industry, and these talents are coming up. And I should tell you that anytime I show these characters, even people from Marvel, right? So, look, we use these superheroes as champions of change. Champions of change. And when I say champions of change, it brings a sector of gaming that we call serious games. How many of us have heard of serious games here? Or who knows about serious games? Okay, so serious games are games for change, games that have direct impact. So if you make a game for nurses, or the disability space, or how to clean the beaches, how to keep things, so a game with a cause, those are serious games. And that has been one of our major pillars as Leti Arts. And we use our heroes to front campaigns like that. So when people interact with our content, I think you can see Kamsa here, this one, championing the cerebral palsy disability space, right? She's a superheroine, and I'm going to focus this workshop on how we actually developed Kamsa. And this character was developed by Farida Bedwei. She's a huge tech entrepreneur in Ghana here, and she also has a creative side. So she developed Kamsa, and we collaborated. I told you collaboration is one of my fundamental values, and we made Kamsa. And Kamsa has gone very global. It's a global character. So we use games. In making games, you design, you develop, you analyze, you evaluate, you design. So you never stop making games, right? And this process is like a cycle. When I make a game, I design it, I prototype it, which is a development, I analyze, and then you guys can evaluate. People play, evaluate, give feedback. So when you go to our booth, there are games there that we want feedback on. So you can give us constructive feedback. So which sectors have we operated with these serious games? A lot. We've done educational games. We've done political change games. I think we launched a game in Kenya back in 2012 during their elections to show how to be a good citizen. And we did one recently with UNDP in December called the Elections Hot Seat, which also was quite strong. Health and medicine, we've worked with a lot of NGOs and corporates in this space. And gamification disabilities, I've showed you Kamsa, and we are doing more. Albinos will be coming soon. We are collaborating with like a French writer who wants to focus in that space. So we'll be doing something great in that space as well, which is inclusion, right, and diversity. Medical training, rehabilitation, we've done mental health. We are exploring that also very soon. So that's it. Yes, so these are some examples. I think most of you are wondering, where are the games? So Haki was one targeted at conserving trees. And this was really successful. We did this in 2012, 2013 in Kenya. We had over 300,000 downloads then on the Java phones. So we started with Java phones. Android was quite new. So we had an Android version, but the downloads were not too encouraged. But Java, we had a lot of downloads. So that's Haki. Then we also do collaboration. So Mighty Joe is actually a character of Parables Animation Studios, one of the prominent animators in Ghana. So Mighty Joe is his superhero character that he's using to tell the stories that happened in Ghana, like the floods that happened. He has an episode on the floods. He has an episode on Galamsey and all that. And we are actually collaborating with him to build games through this so that people can actually understand how to be good citizens to prevent such disasters. So Mighty Joe is a Ghanaian superhero. Through Parable Studios, we are blazing the trail. Then the hot seat. You guys just enjoyed the hot seat. And it's running on MTN. Please go and play. You can win a lot of things. And if you don't want to buy data again by just actually using your mind or your smart skills, play the hot seat. Free data, free airtime. Anytime you win points, you can actually redeem. So you saw hot seat already, but I definitely have a trailer on it to just show you again how it looks and the vision for it. So that's the trailer for Hot Seat. So you can see the vision and where we want to take it. Companies can take advantage of it. If you're a corporate here, you can actually launch a Hot Seat and reward and engage your customers. It's an engagement tool running on MTN's infrastructure, and you can also benefit. Cool features. You can choose your quiz master. You saw the lady asking the questions. That is actually the national science lady, but please, it's just generic character. Eh? I know some lawyers are also taking advantage of game space to do IP, and those are all opportunities. If you're a lawyer, you can become an IP lawyer for video game characters. Just go outside. Lawyers there are making money not through going to court. They actually are just IP lawyers, right, for game characters. So these are all opportunities. Some more screenshots. This is how it looks like. Then we have Into the Wild. This game is quite interesting. We are collaborating with a Nigerian company called Lyrox Africa. And it's a puzzle game, very well developed. And it's going to be released next year. And it's actually showing the wildlife landscape in Africa. So you actually explore elephants, giraffes, whilst you are finding some of your artifacts or tools within the forest. Very, very nice game. I'll show you the videos later. Then Kamsa. Kamsa, today we are showing Kamsa at our booth. So please go and experience it. But I'm going to show you the video of Kamsa developed by Farida Bedwei and Leti Arts. So let's see how the game looks like. Yes, so you've seen some shots from the game. Don't you love it? It's going to be an amazing game. And the good news is yesterday there was a huge announcement. Kamsa has been selected as part of Ubisoft Orange Africa France collaboration program. So it means that they are actually going to co-produce. If you know Ubisoft, they are one of the biggest game companies in the whole world. And they chose 9 companies from Africa, and Kamsa and Leti Arts is part of that. And this is an amazing milestone for us. So expect Kamsa next year, probably on Xbox or, you know, on your phones and all that. Well made, and collaboration is key. Then there is one amazing game happening now. It's going to be released end of this month or mid of December. And it's actually sponsored by yours truly, right? And it's a consortium collaboration between Leti Arts, Usiku Games, Kefo, and Malio Games. And the game is called Mama Atingi Shop. So Mama Atingi is a tourism simulation mobile game. So very soon, the target group are those selling at art center. Like if you manage a shop, this is a game for you. You will learn a lot from this. And it's an amazing, sweet game, sponsored by GIZ. And these are some visuals from the game so far. When you are playing the game, you actually see your environment in the near future. So does this look like Africa, this map? When you look at it, does it look like Africa? Because we definitely need feedback from our artworks. So if you see Jamestown, a slum or something, do you think it's Africa? Yeah, so because it's an Africa-wide game, we had to pick some parts from Senegal, some parts from Ghana, some parts from, just to make it look Africa in the near future. So this is a fantasy world, actually, being managed by the sons of Mama Atingi. It's a really cool game and story. So these are some visuals from the in-game play. It's a simulation game, and when I talked to my colleagues, they were okay for me to show it here. So yeah, expect this game. It's going to be released soon. And these are the cool characters that you will be interacting with. Mama Tingi herself. Then we have, we don't have names for them yet, but the main characters, a brother and sister, their auntie, and their greedy uncle who wants to take over the business. So that's the story. Then, as I said, we are very diversity focused. So we have customers like white tourists, we have disability initiatives in there as well. So please, this game is for everyone. Enjoy it, okay, when it comes out. There's another that we are working on in the agricultural space. As I said, gamification cuts across every sector. So this is a game codenamed Ilri Now, and it's actually on livestock in the future. So it's a 3D game that you enjoy. This is also going to be released end of December. So you can see Leti Arts, we are quite busy. A lot is ongoing. So these are all things that you can jump on, and I'm going to expose more to you as we continue. Then we also have a product called Afro Comics. Afro Comics is one of our major products focused at publishing. So we use Afro Comics to publish the content that we develop. And this actually is going to plug into the world of NFTs as we hear now in the cryptocurrency space. And I think this is a huge product that we should concentrate on as well. So that is about Afro Comics. And yes, we've made other games. My Jolly, which is a sexual reproductive health game targeted at 12 to 24 years, teenagers to make decisions, sponsored by the Netherlands Embassy and the Web Foundation. Then, this is the kid in the school. Teaching mathematics through storytelling is also very key. Then we have SIFA. It's a game deployed in Kenya for a client for teaching mathematics for 5 to 8 year olds. So yes, that's Leti Arts. And we've actually done a lot, like we do a lot. So if you are here and you want a 3D character design, visualization, characters, even portrait paintings, you can fall on us. Multi-talented team, world-class, and you will never regret it. So, as I said, not only are we starting a company in Africa, we are starting a whole new industry in Africa, and that is the work landscape that Leti Arts has embarked on so far. So before we jump into the workshop, I'm going to just open the floor for questions. If you have any questions to ask, you can. Any questions so far about the profile of Leti Arts, vision, and all that? Any questions?
So you're a game designer, and you also work with other companies, other designers, other agencies. How does that work?
Okay, yes. So the question was, we are a game design company, and we work with other companies. Yes. So we provide gamification services to other companies. So for instance, let's take MTN Hot Seat. For instance, currently, if you are a corporate, like MTN HR uses Hot Seat to to reward employees. So they can put questions there. Employees will play the game, and there'll be a public leaderboard for them to see, and they'll say, okay, if you are good, then you are the leader, right? For instance, we did a prayer with Vodafone through Publicis long ago, where they had a game room for employees for orientation. So you don't have to have trainers coming to train your staff all the time. You can have a game, and your staff will play that game, and automatically they know about the game already. Exactly. We gamify the process, and it cuts across industry. So you saw agri-tech, we have insurtech. We did an insurance game in Kenya with Airtel Tigo and Micro Insure, where you call and you make money. Now that product is in Ghana. You call and you get insurance, right? There's insurance on your call. So we did a game to actually let people understand why they have to subscribe for that service. And that game was amazing. It was an SMS game. And also, please, games are not only visual. Games can be anything. It can be getting to ShopRite, just going to Facebook, and then you get points, right? So anything that gives you points and rewards you is a game of sorts, okay? So that's the process. If you are, let's say, like a mining company, and you want to train people in mining, it's something that we can do. Currently, we have a game called Hello Nest that we did with the Ministry of Health and USAID and JPIGO. And Hello Nest has been an amazing platform. First with malaria, and now we just put in HIV. So malaria in pregnancy and HIV, how to handle, and this for in-service nurses. So people stigmatize our colleagues, like female sex workers and in that space, like the key population. They don't want to go to hospital, right? If they feel sick because they will be stigmatized. So this game is actually to train in-service nurses how to use best practices to handle the key population. And it cuts across. So that's how we work. So any company here, we can work with you. Governance. I think if the Ministry of Finance wants people to understand whatever policies they are bringing, it can be a simulation game, right? If you want to see whether you remove road tolls and make more money with mobile data, you can put it through a game first before you implement. I know Microsoft and all these big companies, they use games to train their managers. They use a game like Business Tycoon to train you as a manager before they make you manage a whole department. So games cut across. And that's the space that I want people to get into. Leti Arts is actually one of, I think we are only 2 fully focused game companies in Ghana, but a lot more indie gamers are springing up. Indie game means single, one-man teams. And we have a WhatsApp group, which is growing. The community is growing. But I want people to take it much more seriously and create companies around it. And the government should also know that this industry is new. You can study Finland. Finland invested in games so much. And if you go to Finland, a tiny country, but they are generating billions from the gaming industry. There's a company called Supercell. Supercell is a Finnish company, right? They got an investment from the government. They have a fund for gamers in 2012, which is $6 million. In 2017, Supercell made $2 billion and paid 3% tax back, which is $144 million to the government. So imagine you invest 6 million and just 6 or 5 years, you make 144 million. So these are the low-hanging fruits that we can jump on. And this is when metaverse hasn't even come. And metaverse is now coming. So this value is going to triple, right? So let's take advantage of this industry. Virtual reality, augmented reality, robotics, all these things can create a lot of money. Now, the workshop, and I think since we don't have a lot of people here, let's just do a quick introduction. I normally start with an introduction just to know the people here, and then we can communicate better. And I normally do this through a doodle. So we will just do something short. I'm going to give you, just take one sticky note. Okay, so just make a quick doodle of yourself, write your name, and then just write what you expect from this workshop. So we should have started with this. So we'll just do the doodle. Let me do mine first. Good. So when you finish, just come and stick it here. I'll be checking. So that's my doodle. Eyram Tawia, I'm excited to be here. Yeah, that's what I have. So you can just do a doodle. Oh, guys, you can also doodle yourselves and just join us. Pick one and just draw. So, yeah, just good. Thank you. Thank you, Samson. Excellent. Thank you. Open. Okay, sure. Great. So the last doodle should come and then I'll read it out. So I have Eyram Tawia, that's myself. I'm excited to be here, yes. Then we have Samson, know more about game development, amazing. Welcome, Samson. Then we have the man, Isaac Newton himself, Aqua. Yes, he likes tech, blockchain, yes, and change, learn more, go meta. He's looking at the metaverse. The metaverse is an amazing platform. It's going to be amazing. I don't know how much you look. The metaverse is going to unlock so many things, right? It's going to bring the second life here. And we need to take advantage of the metaverse. All right, so welcome, Isaac. And yeah, so once you are ready, just bring it. Just paste it. And then we'll dive in quickly. Okay, yes. Yes, you just stick it on there. Thank you. All right, just sure. All right, thank you. Yes, so J, virtual reality, amazing, amazing, amazing. Metaverse, you see the metaverse, guys. Blockchain, metaverse, VR, AR, amazing. And we are going to explore it now. So the workshop is, for those who just joined, I gave an overview of Leti Arts and what we do and the overview of the gaming industry. So I think it's being streamed and recorded, so you can look at the videos later. And we are now diving into the workshop. My colleague is not here, Kamsa. I'm centering the workshop around Kamsa because that was a theme of my topic, my title, Inclusion and Diversity, and how we are making games, making impact one game at a time. And we chose Kamsa because we are all amazed how far Kamsa has traveled. It's touched people in Australia, India, the US, in Africa. We've actually been on panels across the globe in disability spaces, people telling us what this has done for their CP siblings, right? Empowering them. And Farida herself is an impossible miracle, right? Living miracle, showing us that anyone can achieve, right? Differently abled, not disabled, okay? And Kamsa is our character. So I'm going to show you a short video of the process that we took in making Kamsa.
There's a certain strength that comes from your eyes. Kamsa, and a deep burning fire and desire to rise. Kamsa, whenever you fight, our world is a better place. You have got the greatness to conquer in every way. Supergirl, supervision, super passion, super strength, super fighter, super powers, superhero. Supergirl, supervision, super passion, super strength, super fighter, super powers, superhero. If there's any trouble, you quickly appear. Kamsa, and your presence always takes away our fear. Kamsa, whenever you fight, the world is a better place. Stop. You are the greatness that conquers every space. Supergirl, supervision, super passion, super strength, super fighter, super powers, superhero. Supergirl, supervision, super passion, super strength, super fighter, super powers, superhero. Power belongs to all of us. How you choose to use your power depends on what you want to change in the world. Whenever Kamsa fights, our world becomes better. She is a conqueror, and so are you. Whenever you fight, the world is a better place. You have got the greatness to conquer in every space. Supergirl, supervision, super passion, super strength, super power, super fighter, superhero. Supervision, super passion, super strength, super power, super fighter, superhero. Supervision, super passion, super strength, super fighter, super power, superhero. Supervision, super passion, super strength, super fighter, super power, superhero. Supervision, super passion, super strength, super fighter, super power, superhero. Supervision, super passion, super strength, super fighter, super power, superhero.
So, I like the last end. And the music was made by Anita Eskid. And That's what I said about the power of collaboration, right? She brought the music, the beautiful song you heard from Anita Eskin. Imagine you have a TV episode of Kamsa Superhero with this song, Supergirl, Superhero. You are everywhere. You are on Netflix, you are on Amazon Prime, you are on music, and that's how, and in the metaverse, people can be playing Kamsa within a virtual world, and you'll still be making money with royalties. You understand? So that's the power of collaborations. And this is amazing by accident, but power belongs to all of us. I think it's from God. Amen. So that is the development process of Kamsa. I just wanted to show you some video clips for you to understand how much work goes into building these creative contents. Yes. Please make a small doodle of yourself and you write your name and a short expectation and just stick it there. Do you have a pen? Okay. All right. You can use that. It doesn't. Yeah. For your sake, just something like this. Small doodle. That can be anything. Okay. So, I think I already gave an overview of the works at Leti Arts, but for the sake of those who just joined, I'll just show some small projects just for you to understand the direction of this workshop. So these are some works that we've developed over the years. Africa's Legends, we have the kids version as well, right? So you can just see the opportunities that I'm talking about. Then these are the comic pages, some comic pages from the comic book. So imagine these characters in the NFT space. Just imagine these characters in the metaverse, in the gaming space, right? Or on your screens at home, comics, everywhere. That's the comic Anansi, one of our first productions, amazing comic. And these characters are actually built by local illustrators. They were drawn here. You saw the Kamsa process. So people are really talented. These are 3D models from the Wakanda. The Black Panther movie, you can easily identify them. Just fun art. And then I also showed you a video about the Kamsa game. For the sake of those who just joined, I'll replay the video of Kamsa, the game, and to give you an idea of what we are doing here today. Just because of time, but this is a game that is going to come out soon. Yep. Okay, so that said and demonstrated, I'm going to give you a small background of what goes into making a video game. And I've tried my best to break it down as much as possible so that we can all understand. And going through game development, I realized that in the structure of creation, God creating the world, he actually made a video game. Like, we are in a huge simulation as people on this planet, right? So I came from the creationist perspective in explaining what video games are. So, the first thing you have to know about video games is that every game has a creator who is the master of everything. When you are making a game, you are given a blank universe, a blank space, and it's up to you to create what you want to see in that universe. And in creating that, it's similar to God making the world. So the world we live in, the atmosphere, the characters, everything you can think of was carefully designed by someone who is a God, right? And you are the God in your game. When you are creating your game, you are the one dictating everything. Let there be light. And then you have to put Photoshop and light. You understand? So you are that God making the game. So see yourself as a God if you're a game creator. Now, games have two fundamental blocks. We have the creative, the arts, and then the science. So it's the only industry that brings together extreme art and extreme science, right? And the creative aspect is managed by people who are not non-technical. I always say that making a video game is 80% art and 20% science. It's the art, the artists, the storytellers, the designers, the sound people, the musicians. They are the game designers. They make what the game has to be. For the programmers, we just do what the designer has done. It's like an architect. The architect draws everything and then gives to the masons and so the programmers are the masons and the foremen. You understand? But the one who is chopping the big money is the architect and the artist. So the same way, making a game, there is a creative side. So I carefully chose some biblical text to back my creationist perspective. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That's Genesis 1:1, right? So it means God used Photoshop or some 3D model. It's like, okay, I'm coming to make the universe now, blank. Let me create heaven and the earth. So that's how to start a game or to make a game. You first create your world, your heavens and the earth. So if you are making a birds game, Angry Birds, or you are making a chess game, or a quiz game, you need to define your world. So you have to look at Genesis 1:1. Then, after you define your world, you create the atmosphere, the look and feel of the game. So you can see some games are very colorful. Some are just black and white. Some are even stick figures, and they are still fun. It means that the creator decided to make the look and feel that way. So I chose one biblical text, and God said, let there be light, right? And actually, this way of explaining gaming, I've tested it across Africa and the world, and it's actually resonated with a lot of people, especially Africa. So I'm actually making this a curriculum to teach gaming in Africa, and I'm sure it's going to be very successful. Then, after you create your atmosphere and make it beautiful, in creation, after God finished all these things, he put animals, he put fishes, he put human beings. So you also create your characters within your world. So then God said, let us make man in our own image. But when you are making a character, you make it in the image of something, right? So if you want your game to be made up of human beings, then you have to make it in your own image. If you want it to be a game of pen tops or pen drives, you make it in the image of the pen drive. You understand? So let us make man in our own image just means that let us make the characters in the image of what we've set the world to be. Okay? And that's also biblical. So you can see God used 3D Studio Max, Maya, and all that to model us. Right? So he modeled Adam beautifully. Then after you model your characters, what do you have to do? You have to animate the characters. You have to animate the characters. And in animating the character, after you model a character, how many of us have seen a 3D model before or an illustrator? The model can be an illustration. After you illustrate a character, how does it look like? It's just static, no life, nothing. And you have to now animate the character. It's hard, but might not be the hardest part. Let me show you some examples. This is not, let me see if the internet is running, and I can show you a live example of a project that we are implementing. Can you see my screen? So this is the game that I showed you called Mama Atingi, and you can see how we are working. Right? You can see all these illustrations. It goes on and on, like endless. Very, very, very intense when you are making a video game. I just want to show you how the animation is made. So all these are just mere illustrations. Now let's dive into the animation part. And let's see. Okay, there's... Okay, sure. So over here, when we were beginning to animate our character, you saw the frames. So we illustrated this, and we had to animate to see how smooth the characters could be. The internet is a bit slow, so let's just wait for it. And you see how it happened. And this is a static. This is 3D. This is 2D, not 3D. So you can see we drew each frame in a sketch form to see how fluid the walk animation would look like. And this is actually drawn frame by frame, right? So once you see that the cycle is cool, then what do? You can now give it to your characters. And your characters can walk in the light that you want them to walk. And you can decide to give your characters attitudes. So you can see the white lady, we want her to be swinging her waist. So that's the animating process to create the animation. But at this point, it's just animation. It doesn't yet know that this is called walk animation or this is called jump animation. It just knows that I can move my legs, I can move my hands. It doesn't know yet. So that's a quick example. And if you want to see how the walk cycle is, this is the idle cycle. So this is how it is. If the character is engaging someone, you draw each frame separate, and then we put it together like this in the game. So this particular animation is this, idle. No, this is engaged. So the engaged one, this particular one that you see is the one. So he's actually engaging someone. And you have to do this for every character. You have to do this for every character. So this is the world. Let there be world. This is the world that we drew. You've seen the world of this game. The game is happening in a world that we call the map. Right? The game is happening here. So we have to design a world that we want our characters to live in. right? Which looks like Africa. So you can see that we try to make the coastline look like Africa and all that. So yes, that's the game making process. The same way with the hot seat, we had to design the world, know that, put some lights and all those things in the background. Okay, now let's continue. So after you make your animations, you now have to jump into the technical space, which is artificial intelligence. So after you animate your character, you have the walk cycle, the jump cycle, the squat, the talk. You have to now control it with code. That's where the coding comes in, artificial intelligence. And I got a good Bible quotation for this. That's for the foolishness of God is wiser than man's wisdom, right? It means that the game character can never be wiser than you. Even your foolishness is wiser than the thing you are creating. And this shows how mighty God is, right? You cannot be wiser than God. He's actually made you and given you what you are supposed to do on this earth. So how do you expect the game character to now become more intelligent than you, right? So though we are saying artificial intelligence is going to overtake the world, yes, it might happen, but it's just because machines do things very fast, right? Things that you give to a machine, they calculate very fast. So if you are able to give so many instructions to a machine, it might do them so fast that it will become faster than you. But technically, it's not wiser than you. It's just moving with data and tasks that you've actually given it. So we are going to run an example of how machines execute code. And I'm going to act as the character, and one of you should volunteer to be the one, volunteer to be the machine. So read to me the instructions. Computers execute instructions line by line. And when you are giving instructions to a character in a game, you give it line by line. And this is a theory called finite state machine. So someone here can act as the machine, and I will be the character in the game. So Isaac or Amma, one of you should read the first instruction.
Okay, so first instruction is to wander along a path if you don't see or hear an enemy. When you hear an enemy, look for the enemy. When you see an enemy, chase the enemy. When you reach your enemy, attack.
So that is totally all that is done in video games, right? And it's a series of these states that you put together, and a timer keeps going around it and values changing here and there to make the game look real. And in AI, I think the robotics guys and the game guys, there's a war between us. The robotics guys say, we only have to make characters look real, but they have to make characters actually intelligent. So that's a war. They're like, hey, if a robot is here and has to walk from here to here, it better walk from there to there. But the game, once it's off the screen, you can stop it. You understand? So that's the issue about AI. All right, so the next bit is pathfinding. All these things are a set of algorithms. Look, when you enter the world of games, you understand life better. I think anytime I make a game, I understand God better, right? And I understand everyone. When I fly up in a plane and I look down, I just see individual artificial intelligence characters moving and walking based on situations. And, if you are born in a sea, you will unlock that bit of you to be able to survive in the sea. That's how it is. So the more you make a game, the more you understand these things. So in Pathfinding, if you make a game and the game is indoors, the character is indoors, you have to let it know the path to pass. So just like Google Map, before everyone came here, I'm sure you use Google Map to look at the shortest route and the traffic. It's the same algorithm that they are using. A-star algorithm, or there are much more algorithms like neural networks who learn. But you are able to use pathfinding to see the shortest route to a particular place. So you saw me chasing Isaac, right? If Isaac were to be a game character, I would have used the shortest route to reach Isaac instead of following him blindly. Then we have physics. Physics in games is very key, right? It's the physics in the game. Someone wrote here whether we'll be making soccer games. Yes, we'll be making soccer games. And in the soccer game, you can see physics happening. The ball bouncing, Ronaldo shouting, and all these characters, right? That is physics. And Newton was definitely right. What goes up must come down. And it's only in games that you can simulate these things. I told you that games are a simulation. Yes. Okay. So what goes up must definitely come down. That is gravity. And because you are God, you can say in your world, what goes up must stay up, or what goes down must go up. Because you can decide to do anything. You can decide to do anything. Then we have collision. Okay. Then we have collision. Action and reaction are equal and opposite. Thank you. Good. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I always tell people that it's only in video games that you are able to test these things, to actually see it happening, right? If we use games to teach science in JSS and SSS, you actually realize that kids will understand that law of motion or collision better than the abstract things that we are taught. Right? For instance, Pythagoras' theorem. Pythagoras' theorem is what is used to shoot a bird on a tree. Because before you shoot the bird, you have to calculate where the bird is and draw a right-angled triangle, right, to the bird. So the hypotenuse is the line of sight to the bird. Then you draw a perpendicular line and an adjacent line to you. Then you get the 90 degrees bit before you are able to tilt, get the angle of inclination, and then look at the hypotenuse to get the distance between the 2 points. And then you use that vector quantity because the subtraction between the 2 points gives you the magnitude on the x and y axis. And then you can now decide to propel your weapon in that direction. So look, gaming teaches everything. Now, every game has a genre. We have action games, adventure, arcade, board. It depends on whatever you want to build, right? I know, Amma, your platform, the ACO books can have a lot of games within it to enhance people reading more and more and more. And you can have a board game around it or a quiz game around it to just encourage people reading more and more and more. Amazing. So these are the genres of video games. And in making a game, you have to dive into design thinking principles as well. We have human-centered design, which is the discipline of developing solutions in the service of people. To make a game, you need to make sure that you are making a game for a certain target audience or a certain customer. Else, you will make a cool game for yourself and the audience will see something else, right? So in making a game, adopt human design principles so that the customer is of focus to you, so that we prevent things like this. And the team in a game is very simple. In a game company, creative director, okay, so this one, I made it for making Kamsa comic. So, but in a game, you have your programmer, story writer, artist, and then you can have your producer. But in making an animation or a comic, that is for Kamsa comic, you can have a creative director, story writer, concept artist, and animators. And there's a hidden person within your team called a consumer. You need to have your target group. That is the consumer. So you always make sure that you are designing for a consumer. So that's the making of Kamsa. And the process was very simple. A writer writes a synopsis, gives it to us, Leti Arts, to produce. So we design the concept art of the characters. Then we have the story or script, which will be developed further by the writer. We have a template that that will give you to put your story. Then we have the storyboard artist. We review for feedback, we ink, color, panel, and then we publish on Afro Comics. I'm using Afro Comics here because it's our platform. So these are the concept arts. This is how they look like. Just mere sketches of the description that you give us. So that's the description of Kamsa. So the Kamsa that you saw, this is how it started. These are the line arts of Kamsa. And these are the colored artworks. Yes, more colored art. And I already showed you what it looked like. So this is just a video of what it looked like. I think you've seen enough of this. And honestly, we want to do this with people. If you're a story writer, no matter how small, come to us. We want to produce a lot of African content. A lot. No matter how stupid the story sounds, please bring it. We will definitely find a target group for it. And I can tell you, I can show you an example. My son is in class 1, and he wrote a story, right? Within 15 minutes, he came up with a story called Chicken Squad. One day, there lived 3 chickens, and he drew the chickens. Roy, Boo, Sweetie. He just came up with the names. Roy saw a food pack full of food. He called his friends. His friends came and saw the food. They ate it, and the lizard came and said, "That's my food." The lizard got mad and just as a child, right, documenting his imagination. And he made this, and what fascinated me was the illustrations that he made with the storyline. You could see that this child was imagining something. So on his birthday, on Friday, I took this story and we produced it for him. And when he saw this, he was like, "Oh, this is Roy, this is Boo, this is Sweetie." Right? So no matter how lame your story is, we can make it into a storybook for kids. And one day, there lived 3 chickens, Roy, Boo, and Sweetie. Is it not the same? So automatically, this book has become a children's book that can sell in shops here. So please, you can be a story writer and join a team. And you just write the story or do the music or do the voiceover or something. Okay? So that's an example of a production. Roy saw the full pack. So the book will be out. And then we made him into an author. Right? So automatically, he has a book. We will donate to his school. It will be put in the library. Whether it's a good book or not, it's still a production. You understand? So that's almost the end of the workshop. But I want to leave you with some of the tools, because I've shown you how things are made in the gaming industry. And I definitely have to let you know some of the tools that you can learn or use yourself. So we have, for 2D art, all the beautiful artwork that you saw are made in Photoshop, Illustrator, Adobe Flash, Anime Studio, Toon Boom, Premiere Pro for video production. All the videos that you saw me use, I used iMovie or Premiere. These are some of the works that animators have made with these tools, like the 3D tools. This is made by Pixel Motion. Look at how real this is. And this is by a Ghanaian, right? Pixel Motion, very, very, very solid guy. Yeah, this is also made by Final Effects, right? And he made this in After Effects, right? So it's something that I think you guys can take advantage of. So that is all for the main workshop. And you can actually visit our stand and have a feel of the Kamsa Run game. It's on mobile, it's on PC. We'll love your feedback. Yeah, and I think we can just call it a session, but definitely Kamsa Run is out. It's going to come out late December or early next year, but the prototype is ready for test. And I've said a lot about Kamsa, so these are just some deck-like slides on it. It follows, these are existing games that we looked on. So the genre, Vector is a game, Joy Jetpack is a game, Tempo Run. So we looked at these games as the target. Screenshots. The game loop of Kamsa, you start the game, avoid obstacles, gather powers, gather collectibles, unlock a new area, start. Very simple, very simple. Okay, so every game has a loop. In the workshop, I mentioned it. And the team behind, Eyram, myself, I'm the creative head, Wesley Tech, Shan, Asamoah, lead developer, Kwejo Frimpong, artist. Actually, all these artworks that you saw is being led by Kwejo Frimpong. He's an amazing artist, and he's mentored a lot of Ghanaian artists as well. Ravi made these characters under the leadership of Kwejo. And yeah, I think these guys, you will meet them at the booth. Then yes, I've already said this, our references. Yes, so I think Kamsa is, the Kamsa game would be an auto runner, 3D, on Android, iOS, single player, platformer. Target is core Kamsa fans, 7-year plus, rating is everyone. And estimated time of arrival will be coming soon. That's the visual styles. Yes, so I think we've had a great session, and I'll open it up for questions. And yeah, these are just some target statistics, but I may make the slide available for you to see all these. But we are targeting the African market a lot. Okay, so that's a business model around it. And this is a market positioning. So Kamsa run will be between vector and tempo run. Cool. Thanks so much. And just take a shot of this. You can follow us. These are some reading materials. If you want to do game development, you can check out these links. If you want to write, go to this site. I've used this site since 1999. It's a very old site, and it's still existing. So then artworks and sound, you can do this. Cool. So yeah, we are done. Let us build a game industry in Africa together. Thank you very much for your audience and attending this session. Thank you very much.
It's fantastic, Eyram. So, as you know, I'm in the audio space, and there's been a growth and development in audio games as well, like for Alexa. And I was wondering whether you are doing any of that, because some of these adventure type games, but you do it with your voice. I'll be interested in that. Yeah.
Yes, that's a great question. And the answer is yes. We are doing that as well. Voice games on Alexa, on devices. So I was at the game conference with an Alexa game, which was aiding a board game. So it was like a mafia game, right? So it starts with the narrative on the Alexa, and then you have to now move to the location and then mention a command, and the game continues again. And this is something that we really want to explore, especially with interactive stories. Choose your own adventure stories. And we can do something like that. And also voiceovers. Voiceovers are also becoming something of the moment. I don't know whether recently you saw a game, like a Ghanaian character come out in a big game called Valorant. And the voice was made by a Ghanaian lady. And the character design archetype was made by us in terms of vetting it, but the character has really gone far, and voiceover is something that people have to take advantage of, right? I don't know whether I have a video of it, but I can play it for you to see. Let's see that. Yeah, so this is the character that came out with Riot Games.
Tell a person's character by their first action. Check me then, eh? It's a bullseye. These are the light that I ever hide from. Cause I'm red and blue lights, I don't sing their song. I know. Where you at, yeah, where you come from? Who you wanna become? Everybody, move a leg. Everybody here. Welcome to Traffic. One to the right, down, one to the left. Never stay still. Move again. We saw the beginning and the continuation. Now, the end. We are above them. Anything I want, but they gonna take that. What I want, so I'll never leave that. Whole team, better luck next life. Protect at all costs, yeah, like a wave cat. Relax, my friend. Time and space, they know what you think. It's a bullseye.
All right. Setting stuff up now. All right, ready to go? Smoking now. Sucking and stunning.
They're about to suck me. I feel it. Oh god, that nade.
On the big flank right now.
Wide. Planting default again.
Yes. So the game is made by Riot Games, and it's called Valorant. So you can download and check it out. And then the character is called Astra. The Ghanaian character is called Astra. She likes jollof. She speaks a lot of Ghanaian pidgin when you are using her. Really cool character. Okay. Any other questions? But Amma, we need to do something together soon.
Another question about whether the devices, to what extent you use like the phone, the devices like the camera, what they can do in your game design. Do you incorporate some of the features of the devices themselves in your game design?
So you mean the device, the platform, or the tools to use?
So let's say you're doing a game to be played on an iPhone. You can take pictures, do you use those things in the game?
Yes, there are some games that require you to use the device. So, as I said, you are the god of your game. So if you want people to take pictures at some point in the game, like for instance, there's a game that we are making now that the client wants the community to direct the game. Right? So we give you one level, but the second level has to come from the community. So we've made it possible for the community to record their voice and build their own character. So when you are building your character, you give it a voice, and it has to use your voice. So you read some statements, and the character will guess your voice frequency and use it within the game. And there is one that when you get to a stage, the client wants you to take a picture of yourself. And we are doing that as well. So it depends on the game designer. If you want to use the capabilities of the device, like for instance, Oculus Rift, the virtual reality headset. If you watch a game or use a game like that, you can move, you can actually go down, jump, and all that by doing it yourself, and it responds in the game. So these are things that you can incorporate. And there are a lot of games like that use their surroundings. There are location-based games as well. There's a game that like a guide made, which is a location-based game, and they sell to shops. So if you go to ShopRite, let's say ShopRite's game, they want you to keep coming back to the store. Anytime you get to ShopRite, tag yourself. It will give you a point, and you earn discounts when you are purchasing something in the shop. So these are all loyalty systems that you can make use of in a game. Yes, all right.
All right, so my question is, growing up, we were fond of using Mario and Mortal Kombat and Sega and all those things. You know, we used to run out of school and go and play those games. So my question, how do we make these indigenous games, something that people will be talking about? Like, we know that the European games and all the games have taken over the market. People talk about PS5, PS6. How do we make these things to become the name or, the subject that we'll be talking about? My second question has to go with, in as much as we are also trying to catch up with innovation, the Europeans, whatever we may call it, they are always advanced more than us. How do we also make sure that they don't take a step before we take a step, but we rather will have to take a step, then they will also take that step? Thank you.
Yes, great questions. I think when I started, I clearly mentioned this Mario, Mortal Kombat. That's where we all started, right? And the African video game industry is actually very new, right? And the mission of Leti Arts is to make African games the thing of the moment. And we believe that Africa will make a very salient contribution into the world of video games. And in 5 to 10 years to come, we should be able to rub shoulders with the international games. Currently, the industry is very young. I think earlier on, I actually showed some games that I think would make a good competition. Like, for instance, this game, this Mama Tingy game, is being made like Sims. The Sims from EA, right? And it's a collaboration between game studios in Africa, right? Being funded by GIZ. So with the right funding in Africa, we can compete, right? But we need to collaborate with the international studios as well because they have a much more established industry. So I just showed you the Astra character. Astra game. Valorant is a game made by Riot Games in the US. Huge game. But with the small collaboration on one Ghanaian character with a Ghanaian studio has made us global out there with a competent team. You understand? And this workshop that I ran today was to expose you to the possibilities and how much you can grow within the gaming space. So if you're an artist, I told you that all these artworks are being made by Ghanaian and African artists. It means you have the capability or the ability to produce quality like this. The same way, a game like this game, for instance, is a 3D game. Everything here was made by a Ghanaian artist. The Kamsa game you saw, the Kamsa game that I showed, even this game, everything here was made by a Ghanaian artist. But so with the right funding, yes, we can compete, but we have to start from somewhere. We have to make Ghanaian investors comfortable in investing in video games because outside, the gaming industry is the biggest. It's bigger than the movie and the music industry combined. And in Africa, all we are working with is the potential market of an untapped potential market, right? 1 billion plus people. So this means all the revenues that the West are reporting, Africa is contributing less than 1% of those revenues. The gaming industry is estimated at $200 billion now. And Africa, I'm still very positive that we are contributing less than 1% of that figure. So if we take advantage of the 1 billion plus people, Africa alone could generate about $1 trillion out of the gaming industry. We don't know, but yeah, because the good thing is that it is untapped potential market. So let's see how that takes us. And Leti Arts and other studios on the continent, we are trying so hard to make that happen. These are some of the games that we've been working on and looking for sponsorship or collaboration for. So for instance, the Mortal Kombat that you talked about, there is a game that we are experimenting with our superheroes, right? The announced superhero. We are trying to make a fighting game as well, like Mortal Kombat, with our superheroes. Right? But this needs a lot of funding, and the marketing and the business model has to be right. So, you just don't jump into making a game. You have to see the business. The business is like 60% of the whole game. The game has to be good, all right, but the marketing has to be on point. And once you have a strong marketing team and budget, we should be able to make games from Africa that compete globally. Right? So that is one example. And and if we get a competent team Why? Why won't we be able to make it? This was our first game, the game we made first in 2013, 2014. Right? The resources we had could only get us to this level, which is still a good game. This is still a good game. It's like Candy Crush, where you play a puzzle and fight, right? And this is this game, like the Anansi that you saw fighting, this was a character. This is the character. So it's this game that we are translating into the fighting game. So games have mechanics. Currently, we have a fighting game, but it's a match 3 fighter. This is a match 3 fighter. So this is actually translating it into fight. So you can see the Anansi character now coming to life. So we have the ability to produce such games, but we definitely need the support, the collaboration, and the funding to make it possible. So yes, have I answered your question? The second one was, I think I've answered that one too. Yeah. Okay. So that's it. And for working with competent teams, it's really necessary. Like now, the work that we do with global game companies gives us the exposure to learn the best practices from them as well, right? I remember one of the games that I also contributed to, just looking at the character, creating an African colony within an existing game. It's also with the Riot team, and the game is called Legends of Ranetera. You should look at that as well. When I saw the trailer, I was blown away. So this game is made by Riot Games, right? The part that Leti has contributed was just to look at, they were trying to bring an African colony within this game. And we had to vet whether the colony is African enough, the tribes are balanced. We didn't do art, we didn't do programming, but we did the story bit, making sure the culture is right for the African space. So I can confidently also feel good that we've made like we are part of a team that made this quality. I getting it? And in making that experience, in doing this with a global company, that experience of learning from their best practices and all that, we also gained something. So yes, so these are examples. So I just wanted you to see that things are happening. Things are happening. We are definitely doing things. And the game this game, Mama Tingy Shop, is really, really going to blow your mind because, and this is the first game that we are attempting as a collaboration in Africa. And this is a collaboration between African studios. And we want to do more and more of such collaborations. And through you guys also patronizing the games. Don't give us sympathy gameplay. Play the games because you love it. Don't say that, hey, a Ghanaian has made the game, so let me go and look at it. That's what we are getting now. Oh, Ghanaian has made a game. Oh, let me download it. Play the game like how you play an EA Sports game or something. And give us credit, share, talk about it. No matter how crappy the game is, please be proud of it because it's not easy to make a game. Okay? And if someone tries to do this, the industry is growing. There will be a lot of crappy games before the good ones will come. Okay, so let's just keep producing games. And every game developer out there, please just keep making games, keep designing. Use a piece of paper, write out your game, send it to, or form teams in schools. When I was in SSS, I went to Maoli School in Ho, and I had a group of friends. We were always in the computer science, computer lab, experimenting with QBasic and all that. So, and I had friends in Infantipim, back in JSS, my friends in JSS, they are medical doctors now, but at least you can just have a group and just keep producing. Yes.
So my next question is, you spoke about funding. which is a key component of every business. But if you look around, if you look at the New York Stock Exchange, we have a lot of these gaming companies on the New York Stock Exchange, which is a way they also use to raise money to support it. So my question is, we have Ghana Stock Exchange and other investment avenues here, whereby you can approach to also raise funds for it. So for example, using the stock exchange of the Ghana Stock Exchange to raise, they have a market for alternative market for startups to be able to raise money as well. So it's a question or it's something that I'm also putting across. How about that? Looking into that as well.
Yes, thanks so much. And we will explore it. But you know, these things also come from policy level. Like we as a company would love to list on the Ghana Stock Exchange, but we're a game company. The cultural problem in Africa is that games, we need to break this mindset. Break this African mindset, right? Education and games move hand in hand. Until we see that games are actually educating or the public in Africa, patronage would be a bit low. So we are trying to do that through education. For instance, digitizing our curriculum, making colored books through the Kindle store and all that. We would try as much as possible to build games, serious games that resonate with the ecosystem. Then we can add the entertainment games. And that could bring value to Leti Arts as a company to list on the Ghana Stock Exchange. But also at policy level in terms of working with government, like talking with the Ministry of Finance or Tech, we will definitely do that, or we have to have an association, which we just started. We just started the African Game Developers Association, and I'm the president of that association. And we are trying so much to have meetings with governmental heads in Ghana, in Nigeria, Tunisia, Senegal, and South Africa, and Kenya as well. So we really want to get that also through. So very soon, give us 2-3 years, we should be able to make gaming something on the continent. And I think you've heard of esports. Esports is also growing very fast, right? And gaming and esports move hand in hand. We have the development and we have the playing. You can build a whole career about playing video games. You've met people who have won, or you've heard of people who have won $3 million by just playing games, right? So definitely, I think the ecosystem is going to grow. People are coming in. And yes, that will be a good thing to list on the stock exchange to raise funding. But I think in 2-3 years, we should be able to do that. And currently, we are also seeking for investment. And we are talking with some VCs just to see how to inject capital. Because at the point of Leti now, we have been self-funding. We had seed investment from Meltwater since 2009. Since then, we've been self-funding and investing into establishing this on the continent. It's been a whole, that's why the title is A Decade. If you see the title, I called it A Decade of Games in Africa, Making Impact One Game at a Time, right? A decade is a lot, 10 plus years of making this on the continent. And when I look back, I realized that that is it. It's paying now, right? It's actually, we still have a long way to go, but our efforts have actually become something on the continent. And we are proud of that it started from Ghana. If you Google gaming from sub-Saharan Africa, I'm proud to say that Leti Arts is the originator of that in the sub-region. And I'm very happy about that. And we will keep on doing this and with our colleagues in Nigeria, Senegal, Kenya, to make this gaming industry something worthwhile. And I'm really happy that Ubisoft also chose one of our games recently, Orange and Ubisoft. Kamsa made it into the co-production market that they announced yesterday. And we'll be going to South Africa to actually have the award ceremony next week. So that is an amazing milestone for us as well. Thank you. Last question. Yes, I think it's time. Okay, you have questions?
Okay, so the slide you show gave me an overview that the games are meant to educate us. So I was also thinking, how about collaborating with the Ghana education system to also, or Ghana Education Service to also help them to understand that it's not all about the theoretical aspect of reading things in a book, but then also applying games to teach people in the classroom or having a curriculum that would also help students to understand the game. Thank you.
Yes, that is a great question. And yes, I can say we are definitely going to do that. I've not done that officially, but I've done that individually with people from the GES. So we will definitely meet them officially. And yeah, I think in a year or two, gaming should be placed into our curriculum. Kenya has done it. We've done something with the Kenyan Education Service. So Ghana has to also embrace that, and games can actually be used to teach theories better. So we'll definitely get that going. I know the esports guys are also coming into that space with the Ghana Education Service, so we can make that happen. Thank you very much. And oh, you have a question? Yes.
I'll be very brief, but I believe you all know about Mortal Kombat. And we knew Mortal Kombat started with a game, then it was transformed into a movie. And since you are doing African thing, I want to know if one of these stories, like Yasantua, and we have a lot of stories like African stories, can be used to make a game. The movies, like the stories into a game, and also a game into a movie.
That's a beautiful question. And the answer is yes. That's the big picture. And as I speak, there is a competition by Netflix seeking for local stories. And I've actually applied with the Anansi character in the Anansi story. And I'm sure colleagues of mine have also entered Yasantua. Some have put in Agokoli. Some have put in. So feature films are going to spring up, right? The good thing is that investors are now getting to know about us in the industry. So film shouldn't be just $10,000. $10,000 cannot make anything. It cannot make a movie. But Kumawood produces movies even 5,000, 10,000 CDs and all that. Black Panther, they spent over $600 million, right? And they've made how many? They made $1 billion in 1 month, right? Movies have huge budgets. So until Africa starts understanding that we need to pump money into our movie and entertainment industry, we will not go anywhere. It will not happen by magic. You have to invest money, pay better actors. They have serious talented actors here in Ghana, right? Voice-over artists are there who should be millionaires or billionaires by now, but we are not tapping into the industry because we are not making it attractive enough. If you're a filmmaker now in Ghana, this is your time, right? This is your time as a filmmaker. So please, great question, and I know that an investor is listening to me, has heard your questions, and would reach out to us to make this possible. I would love to see a Yasantua movie, an Anansi movie, which is produced by us. Making it, made into a game, right? So you can see that we have Africa's Legend, that's a game, and the story is there. And the Anansi is also a game and has become, and is going to be a movie. We've done Kamsa. Kamsa is a comic, and we just released the game of the comic. And last 2 years, before COVID, we actually had an offer from a company in Australia to build the animation and the movie. So we gave out the movie rights. But because of COVID, Australia, New Zealand is still in lockdown. So they had to revoke, like give us back the rights. So the Kamsa rights, the movie rights is still open for any international company to partner us. And the good thing about Kamsa is that we also just made it to the American heroes. Like there's a huge game. There's a huge superhero universe in America, and Kamsa just made it into that universe as well. Let me see if I can. American U. Okay, let's see if I can just Google it quickly here. And you'll see Kamsa just made it. So very soon you should see our characters all over. Okay, I'll find it and get it to you guys. So Kamsa made it into that. Okay, learning skills matter. Let's see if Kamsa is there. Yes, so you can see Kamsa. Right, so we just made it into the America U universe. This is a huge franchise in the US. They use this, they are an educational school who have heroes. So they call themselves the Heroes League. And they've licensed Kamsa to be part of the Heroes League. So this is an announcement I was waiting for to make in December, but I can make it now. So you can see Kamsa feeling sexy amongst the... You can see Groot from Marvel and all these guys. So now Kamsa is part of them on the same level. So yes, we are making a lot of strides in the industry, but low key. You know, when a seed is growing, you can't hear, but when it's falling, you hear. So we are growing in silence, and I'm sure this will become something for the next generation to follow. So Kamsa is part of the Heroes League. That's a huge one. And we remain humble on it. We bless God. Everything is God's making. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay. I think this has been an amazing 3 hours. Wow, 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 wow. I think this is the longest I've ever spoken. Thank you very much for your audience, and I hope this presentation or this workshop has been beneficial. And you can give me feedback through eyram@letiarts.com. My WhatsApp, 0244-727546. Just send me a WhatsApp, and we can hook up from there. Eyram@letiarts.com. Eyram.